Calaroga Shark Media.
Hey there, I'm Johnny Mac with your daily comedy news. Friend of the show, Jason Zinnemann from the New York Times, stirring it up. He threw down the gauntlet. This is what people in comedy are talking about today. The headline from Jason Zinnemann in the New York Times: did the worst Netflix special of the year win the Golden Globe? The premise that Ricky Gervais' mortality won for Best Comedy sends a message about the lack of respect given to stand-up. Now, I personally don't agree with Jason that it was the worst Netflix special of the year. I'm sure if we dove a little bit, we could find a special that was worse than that one. And I'll stick to my guns here. On my personal list, I had Gervais at number 11. Let's hear Jason out here. I respect him a lot. Jason sets up his premise. Awards are silly, harmless fun. Unless someone gives one to me, then they are solemn business deserving of respect. That's been my position, more or less. I like to watch the hosts of the Tonys or the Oscars make jokes and enjoy an actorly speech as much as anyone, but I don't expend much energy getting upset at injustices in, say, the Best Supporting Actor category. But on Sunday, when the Golden Globe for Best Stand-Up Comedy on Television went to Ricky Gervais for the second time in 3 years, the wind shook me out of my indifference. That his dismal, meandering laundry list of jokes was even nominated was absurd. That it won, perverse. Now, I have pre-read this article, but I'll jump in here so that I'm not just, reading you Jason's article. We all have to understand what the Golden Globes are. It's just celebrities getting drunk. It's a low-rent award show. Remember the Golden Globes actually went away for a little bit? There was a controversy there, and then they brought it back. So we really can't take this too seriously, and I don't think Jason is either. It's the Golden Globes. People are wigged that Amy Poehler won Best Podcast. There was no scenario where they were going to go, and the winner for Best Podcast is NPR. Here's some guys who record a news show at 4 a.m. That was never, ever, ever going to happen. I'm on record saying that. I've probably said it on this show. I definitely said it on my Substack, which is mcdpod.substack.com. It's free. You should subscribe. There's a link in the show notes. It's the Golden Globes. The only person who takes the Golden Globes seriously is, of course, Taylor Swift, but I'm not going to go there today. Jason writes, taste is subjective, of course, but how could anyone who watched more than a dozen stand-up specials this year think that Ricky Gervais's pretentiously titled mortality set the standard? Well, here's the thing, Jason, and you and I both know this, and I think you may have even talked about this in your piece. The people who are voting, they're not watching these things. They're getting a list and they're going, oh, I've heard of Ricky Gervais. He's very funny. Click. That's all they're doing. Again, that's why Amy Poehler, and I'm not saying Amy Poehler's podcast is bad, but it was a slam dunk. Amy Poehler, who used to host the Golden Globes, was going to win the Golden Globes for Best Podcast. There was no other scenario there. You think Gianmarco Ceresi had a chance to win a Golden Globe? Nobody knows who that is. And he's the 2026 Comedian of the Year. Yes, I'm correct here. Next paragraph, Jason writes, maybe the fact that he hosted the Golden Globes 5 times earned him goodwill. Amy Poehler, another former host who won the first Globe for podcasting on Sunday. Bingo and bingo. And yet, the celebration of one of the worst Netflix specials of the year sends a different message about the lack of respect afforded stand-up. Skipping ahead, mortality is Gervais mailing it in, getting some of his biggest laughs with lines delivered years ago at the Golden Globes. I don't disagree with that. So I watched the special, and it was Ricky doing what Ricky does, and I laughed a couple times. No new ground there. It was just him doing his, I'm going to say something outrageous. You're going to be outraged that I said something outrageous. And then I'm going to point out to you how outrageous your outrage about my outrage is. It's just what he does. Zinnemann writes, no one plays the victim with more persistence than Gervais. Well, maybe Chappelle does. They've tried to cancel me for 15 years, he says in the special. Who has? Not Netflix, which pumps out specials every couple of years. Maybe the Golden Globes? No, he says not a single punchline he wrote for them was cut. He can't even commit to his own nonsense. Skipping down, why does this matter? Bad or boring art gets rewarded with prizes all the time, and no one takes the Golden Globe seriously, right? Part of the issue is that in a culture that pays so much attention to award shows, stand-up comedy doesn't have its own. And the awards that do celebrate specials pit comics against other entertainers, the Emmys, or focus on albums, the Grammys. I wish the Grammys focused on albums. They don't. The Grammys focuses on Netflix specials. Yeah, I get on my soapbox about that every single year. Somebody should put out a comedy album, and we could give it a Grammy. Good paragraph here from Jason. I mean, they're all good. I like Jason's work, and I don't mean to dig the other paragraphs. I just particularly like this one. If you were a casual fan using awards as a guide to the best in the field, you might think that Gervais is on a historic run and that his oblivious rich guy observational humor is what passes for excellence. This is not a good advertisement for the art form. He's right there. But again, it's the Golden Globes. They're going right down the middle. They're going to do the obvious. Good piece there in the New York Times. I encourage you to read it in full. Speaking of awards show, right on time. I mentioned this yesterday. The Grammy Awards must have been listening. They announced Trevor Noah will be back to host the Grammy Awards. It is Trevor Noah's 6th appearance. It will also be his quote-unquote final time. Now, here's why. Trevor began hosting the Grammys for CBS in the first place. You may recall Trevor Noah was host of The Daily Show. That's on Comedy Central. And both Comedy Central and CBS owned by Paramount. So there's some synergy there. But now the Grammy Awards are leaving CBS. They're heading to ABC. And they'll be on ABC for 10 years. Maybe we'll see Jimmy Kimmel hosting the Grammys. Who knows? Anyway, I'm a big fan of Trevor and happy to have him back. ABC would be smart to grab him if he's willing to do it. Netflix announced a deal with Shane Gillis. As part of the deal, we learned that production on Tires Season 3 is underway, and that's part of an overall new Netflix deal with Shane Gillis and John McKeever. The duo will develop film, series, and unscripted projects for Netflix, and we'll get 2 more Netflix specials out of Shane Gillis. Season 3 of Tires will be 12 episodes. Thomas Hayden Church, who plays Shane's dad, is promoted to series regular. Tracy Pacosta is VP comedy series at Netflix, and you can tell she feels the vibe with this quote, Shane Gillis's unapologetic comedy and knack for finding humor in everyday life is what sets him apart. With Tires, he and John McKeever have turned that same raw, unfiltered energy into a show that feels familiar to many people. Shane, giving a much better quote, said, yeah, working with Netflix is great. It'd be cool to shoot Season 3 of Tires soon. That's how you do it. I hate the corporate quotes. They always just sound so soulless. Now, here's an interesting note. Some people on Threads talking about this. The article is about the revamp of CBS News. Not everybody likes what they've done so far. Nikki Glaser made fun of it on the Golden Globes. Her punchline, C, BS News. Now, deep into this article, but this is being talked about on Comedy Threads, a list of some of the people that Barry Weiss, the new boss of CBS News, brought from her previous gig at the Free Press. One of those folks is Sasha Seinfeld. Now, Sasha Seinfeld has a dad named Jerry. I just thought that was interesting and would share it. Speaking of Jerry, Radar Online reports that Jerry Seinfeld is hitting the gym because Jerry, who's 71 somehow, is paranoid about his health and worried that he could develop dementia. An insider tells Radar Online Jerry's in the gym every day and working hard to maintain his looks and fitness, probably for different reasons that you think. Jerry intends to keep performing live as long as he can, and that requires real physical strength, not for just being up on stage, but also to handle the travel and logistics of being a headlining performer. But he's putting in the hours and hitting the weights like never before because he wants to be around for his wife and kids, and he's deathly afraid of things like dementia, cancer, osteoporosis, and Parkinson's disease. He's seen too many of his role models struck down by these things to just ignore his health or leave it to fate. The same report says wife Jessica Seinfeld prides herself in being a great cook, but it's down to Jerry and Jerry alone to put in the hours at his home gym and to stay as sharp as possible. He's taken this mission incredibly seriously. It's become a hobby he's as passionate about as he is about his collection of exotic cars. He wakes up at the crack of dawn for a punishing workout, and he's done by the time Jessica has his breakfast hot and ready for him. Couple jokes from late night. Seth Meyers said President Trump posted a screenshot of his Wikipedia profile on Truth Social over the weekend that showed him listed as the acting president of Venezuela. Not many people can say they were the worst president in the history of 2 countries. Jon Stewart asked, doesn't your oath of office to America have a non-compete? Are you playing Comedy Survivor with us? If you're not, please go to the Facebook group, which is Daily Comedy News Podcast Group. Scroll down there, you'll find a picture of me extinguishing Amy Schumer's torch. She was voted off last week. It looks like this week Joe Coy and Adam Sandler could be in a little trouble. So if you want to save them, you're going to have to rally some friends and get them to the Facebook group to vote somebody else off. But looks like could be Coy, could be Sandler. We'll see. Out today on the 800-pound gorilla, Craig Ferguson's I'm So Happy. Craig Ferguson is a good stand-up. You should watch that special. Amy Schumer likes when we talk about her, so she goes on Instagram. Last week on her Instagram stories, she posted herself wearing a baggy, comfortable outfit that was captured in photos and reported on by the Daily Mail. Amy made fun of the Daily Mail's caption and copied it, writing, "The comedian opted for comfort." Amy added the comment, "Line up, boys." In the photo, Amy Schumer is bundled up in an oversized winter coat, leggings, a hoodie, and black running shoes. Bad news for Tom Brady. Chelsea Handler does not want to date him. She told a radio show, "I have no interest in Tom Brady. I don't find him dynamic, hot, interesting, or fun. I find him so boring." Bill Maher on his podcast said, "I've been nominated for 33 Emmys, and they would never give it to me. That's not a gag number. That's a real number. It's crazy. Obviously, it's something I said. Well, it's everything I said, because I speak freely, and this woke town effing hates that. And that's okay, I've made my peace with that. And Scott Adams, the creator of the Dilbert comic strip, passed away of prostate cancer. He was 68. His wife, Shelley, read a statement on his live stream channel. Scott wrote it before passing away. It read, "If you're reading this, things didn't go well for me. I have a few things to say before I go. My body failed before my brain. I'm of sound mind as I write this January 1st, 2026. And then he got into his estate. I had an amazing life. I gave it everything I had. Be useful, and please know that I loved you all to the very end." At its peak, Dilbert was in 2,000 newspapers. But in 2023, the syndicator dropped the comic strip following remarks made by Scott Adams. The comments I'll personally editorialize are racist and very hateful, and thus I won't repeat them. Scott Adams was 68, and that is your Daily Comedy News for today. I'll see you tomorrow.